got sick of her. Like, ma'am, I sat here all this time and waited on you as a man. Because, you know, that's what women do. That's what women would wait on you. But a man, after you got sentenced, matter of fact, before you even got sentenced, men move on. And they be having about 5, 6, 7, 10 women lined up quick. But this man waited on you while you was locked up. They wouldn't let you out. And I'm talking about he got him a little thunder. Sis is young, pretty. She got her own thing going on, so it ain't like it's one of these little fans or nothing, baby. You up against something. Yeah. And you hurt. Now, you probably was the one in the relationship that was the abusive one. You probably was mental abuse. That man probably was real chill mode. You probably did him real dirty behind closed doors. And he stuck in the paint and stayed with you while you did him dirty. But now it's over with, baby. Karma is something else.
You ever seen a woman get dragged so hard online that she might never recover? Claressa Shields didn't just throw shade, she lit the whole internet on fire. Remy Ma thought she could play boss, until Claressa aired out every secret with no mercy. And now everyone's wondering, is this the end of Remy's pride, her relationship, and her image? It started with a live session nobody expected to go viral. Claressa went on IG and unleashed pure chaos. She wasn't cryptic. She wasn't subtle. She called Remy Ma out by name and accused her of being a fraud in the eyes of the public and in her own home. Claressa said what so many people had only dared to whisper, that Remy was using her marriage as a mask, pretending to be loyal while hiding dirt behind closed doors. She talked about lies, manipulation, and broken trust. She accused Remy of dragging Papoose through the mud after all he did for her. It wasn't just emotional, it felt like Claressa had lived through something herself, like she had been in the room, or at least knew enough to blow the lid off everything. And when she spoke, it didn't sound like gossip. It sounded like a woman who had been holding her tongue for way too long. Remy Ma and Papoose were once seen as the gold standard of hip-hop love. People admired their loyalty, their bond, their ride-or-die story that lasted even through prison bars and years of sacrifice. Papoose became a symbol of unwavering commitment, a man who waited and stood strong. But lately, cracks have been showing. And when rumors started swirling that Remy was entertaining other men, people couldn't believe it. That's when Claressa's name entered the chat, not as someone Remy betrayed, but someone who stood up to say, "This isn't right." Fans now believe Claressa saw too much or heard too many cries from Papoose to stay quiet. They think this wasn't a random social media rant. This was a carefully planned strike to expose a truth she could no longer stomach hiding. It hurt because it came from someone who had once supported Remy, maybe even protected her. Right after the drag session, Remy Ma's name exploded online, and not in a good way. Her face was everywhere, but the captions weren't praising her music or her strength. They were mocking her. Memes rolled in like a flood. Fans clipped pieces of old interviews, pointing out her fake smiles, her dismissive answers when asked about loyalty, and her coldness toward Claressa. It didn't take long before someone noticed Remy had started unfollowing people on Instagram, damage control in real time. But it was too late. The internet was already laughing. What hurt the most was how Claressa used Remy's own voice against her, pulling up clips where she had claimed to be real, to be honest, to never play games. It was like watching someone fall from grace, but with the whole world cheering. With all eyes on the scandal, everyone turned to one man, Papoose. Would he stand by Remy, or would he make a move? At first, he said nothing. But silence in a moment like that speaks louder than any words. Insiders started whispering. Allegedly, Papoose had been keeping his distance, not showing up to events, not posting the way he used to. Some claimed he was blindsided by Claressa's live, while others said he knew it was coming and welcomed it. What's worse, people close to the family hinted that the pain wasn't just public. It was personal. Claressa may have opened the floodgates, but the betrayal, if real, started long before the cameras. And now, the one man who once loved Remy through everything is standing on shaky ground. If he walks away, that's not just a failed marriage, it's a collapse of the image they built together. Fans, of course, turned into investigators overnight. Some believe Claressa and Papoose were closer than anyone realized, not romantically, but emotionally. Like she had become a safe space for him to vent, a quiet listener to his pain. Others are convinced that Claressa's outburst was just the first punch, and that she's holding on to receipts the world hasn't seen yet. Screenshots, voicemails, maybe even video. Theories are flying fast. Some say Remy tried to bury stories using her industry connections, but the truth is leaking now, too big to control. One tweet went viral, saying, "Remy forgot who Claressa is, a world champion." You think she'd start a fight she couldn't finish? That hit hard. Because if Claressa is still holding back, then Remy Ma's nightmare might not even be at its peak yet. Claressa came out of this with her reputation stronger than ever. She wasn't emotional. She didn't beg for attention. She dropped facts with fire and walked away like a true champ. Her followers grew. Her credibility grew. Men especially respected the way she stood up for loyalty and called out what she saw as lies. Meanwhile, Remy is stuck in a whirlwind. Her team hasn't issued statements. Her fans are confused. And brands? They watch this kind of drama closely. One wrong move and opportunities disappear. Remy's entire image was built on strength and authenticity. If that's now seen as a front, she could lose way more than likes. She could lose roles, endorsements, and access. And unless she finds a way to take back control of the story, that fall might only continue. This isn't just gossip. This is a real-life lesson in pride, loyalty, and what happens when secrets get dragged out under the spotlight. Claressa didn't whisper. She shouted. And in doing so, she flipped the power dynamic on its head. Remy Ma went from being the respected queen of her world to a trending topic, not for her bars, not for her hustle, but for being exposed. And the internet? It never forgets. So now the question is, what happens next? Will Remy respond? Will she apologize, deny, or double down? Or will Claressa return with part 2 and leave no piece unturned? You've seen queens rise. Now you're watching one fall. Drop why. The fallout between Remy Ma and Claressa Shields wasn't just a petty celebrity squabble. It was a full-blown public reckoning that exposed deep fractures beneath a carefully maintained image. Remy Ma, long respected in the hip-hop world for her toughness, loyalty, and authenticity, found herself at the center of a storm when Claressa, a two-time Olympic boxing champion and a fierce, unapologetic figure in her own right, decided to air out their dirty laundry in front of the world. But this wasn't a casual diss. It was raw. It was pointed. And it felt deeply personal, like it came from a place of betrayal and built-up resentment. For years, fans have looked up to Remy and Papoose as the model of unbreakable black love. Papoose famously held her down during her prison sentence and stayed loyal when many others would have walked away. Their love story became symbolic, something people rooted for. But recently, rumors started to swirl that behind the scenes, things weren't as solid as they seemed. Whispers of infidelity, growing distance, and secret drama painted a different picture. When Claressa spoke up, it wasn't just commentary, it was confirmation. What really shocked people was the tone Claressa used. She wasn't clout-chasing. She wasn't vague. She laid it all out, pointing directly at Remy and calling her out for being two-faced, ungrateful, and manipulative. She said Remy had been using her family image to mask a lifestyle that was anything but loyal. It was like watching a carefully built empire crumble in real time. And for fans who had supported Remy for years, it was a painful betrayal, not just of Papoose, but of the public trust. Social media only made things worse. Once the drag session hit the internet, people went into overdrive. They dug up past clips, spotted changes in Remy's behavior, and started piecing together clues they had ignored before. Claressa became a hero to some, a woman who refused